Welcome to another episode of Rugby Lives Here on One Play Sports, where we look at the goings on within Singapore Rugby. And in the past, we've looked at the movers and shakers within the Singapore Rugby Union. But today, we're going to expand it out a little bit and talk to the partners that have supported Singapore Rugby. And now, part of it is ELPIS at Hideout. And today, we have Germaine Lim, the founder and CCO. And we're going to ask you what CCO means of ELPIS at Hideout, as well as Douglas Danapal, a veteran of the show, head of commercial, PR and communications at SRU. And Germaine, what does CCO mean?
Hi Duncan.
Hi.
First and foremost, thank you for having me.
Yep.
Yeah. Actually CCO, cheekily enough, it means Chief Connecting Officer.
Okay.
Yeah, but don't get us wrong, we're not connecting people for love.
No,
Wow.
not yet at least.
Each other,
Not yet at least.
Yeah.
So tell us, what is ELPIS at Hideout, first of all?
Okay, so we're a social enterprise, all right? But we are also commercially minded. So in other words, if whatever we do it for our clients. But the difference is that we add, a social impact to what we do. So for example, if our clients come to us and ask us for help in connecting them on the business platform, we will always go back to them and say, hey, how about adding this in order to pay it forward in society? That's what we do.
Okay, and so what are some of the big projects that you've worked on in the past? How did it all start?
Okay, so in the past, we've worked with clients all over ASEAN. The biggest one being, can I say that on screen? I'm sure I can. It is actually a casino in the Philippines.
Yeah.
But they don't wanna come with the casino angle. They actually wanted to say that they are more resort and they are also good for family and all that. So yeah, so we created a year-end party bash for them, and we brought out the other side for them. Yes, and so that is the impact that we're talking about.
Obviously, there is this tie-up between ELPIS and Singapore Rugby, but Douglas, how did you find out about Germaine here?
Okay. Once again, the CCO connecting people and making marriages, but not for people, but for organizations and entities. They came highly recommended by NVPC. We started out with the Food for Good under the Rugby Gives Back program. So that umbrella of programs was actually initiated by ELPIS and Germaine. So working with them and with the rubber stamp and green light from the government, and we decided to progress on it. And the outcome was absolutely brilliant. So $100,000 raised together, 6,000 meals, 8,000?
No.
Yeah.
Douglas, 20,000 meals.
Wow.
20,000 meals.
Okay.
20,000 meals. It was 6,000 just delivered in 3 days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On that particular weekend.
On that particular weekend.
So now we know that there's this synergy between Singapore Rugby and with ELPIS. Why is it a good match, and why did you come and approach them, or they approach you, and why did this connection happen?
Okay, so I think it's so serendipity, isn't it? That we kind of were brought together by the good people who were preparing the meals for us to send out.
Okay.
Actually it all started with JR Foods, to be very honest. And JR Foods was talking to NVPC, and NVPC actually found out about us. And weirdly enough, this whole thing started right when the pandemic was really at the height. And this was actually in end March. So how the entire Do Good campaign started was, I heard from GR Foods that due to the lockdown, and so immediate it was, that there were a lot of these Malaysians who worked in Singapore, and they were caught in the lockdown. And primarily there is one shelter at Margaret Drive that really housed these people, because they can't go back home and they don't have any accommodation here. And they were having a huge shortage of food. And guess what? It was also exactly at that time that ELPIS, we face our worst challenges, because a lot of our clients, because of the pandemic and all, everybody is like, Germaine, we have to put a stop to everything. Literally overnight, we lost 95% of our business. Yeah, so it's no joke. And for us to then turn it around and say, look, instead of sitting here and wondering what do we do next and saying, how is life so difficult and so unfair to us, we thought, no, we're going to turn it for good. And I went out on my own And I just did an appeal, a very small appeal to my friends and say, can you guys give me a couple of $1,000s? I need to raise like 600 meals for this shelter just to help those people. And guess what? Everybody is so supportive. Within 4 hours, we raised it.
Wow.
Yeah, and JR came back to us, right? And JR said that, why don't you continue doing it? After all, you know, if the business are not coming in, do this. I said, okay. So then we actually continued with it. And so, how many months? 4 months later, 100,000, 20,000 meals.
Fantastic. And
Yeah.
just touching on the pandemic and how it affected you,
Correct.
how worried were you during that period where, as you said, you lost 95% of what you were supposed to do?
We were very, very worried. You know, both myself and my business partner, I mean, she's not here, we took a great leap of faith, you know, and we all left very good paying jobs to be where we are, simply because we believe in doing things with an impact, you know. So even though we were very worried, there's one thing we're very, very sure is that we're never ever going to give up. So yeah, that has been the guiding principle. And that, you know, that is really what ELPIS is all about, by the way.
Yeah.
ELPIS is actually Greek for hope.
Oh, wow. Okay, that's interesting. Talking about impacts, Douglas, what impact has this relationship with ELPIS had with SRU, in terms of SRU?
So, well, as I said previously on the previous episode, the players, the national team players, didn't have anything to do. We wanted to stay relevant within the rugby community. We wanted to bring the rugby community together, and that's the impact it's made. So we asked for volunteers. Raising funds is one thing. Anyone can put in some money, not really anyone, but it's easy to donate. But to actually take time off work, family, and your other commitments to come down to deliver the food, that's a different story. And the number of volunteers that turned up, we had to turn people away. So that's the impact it's had. It's kept the community together. It's kept the community growing. And yeah, we're working on phase 2, which would be around Christmas.
That's right.
Yeah.
Because actually the last drop was the 6,000 drop, which is 6,000 meals drop. It's huge. And that's done with Central CDC. You know, Singapore is governed by 5 CDCs with their different mayors and their grassroots advisors. So in this case, you know, we had the privilege of having Minister Josephine Teo grace the occasion, and we had coverage like everywhere, didn't we? Yeah.
Mayor Denise Phua as well was...
Mayor Denise Phua as
was,
well. And that caught the attention of Southwest CDC, you know, because I know Mayor Loh Yin Ling, she's brilliant. She does a lot of things for the community. So they came to us and asked us, you know, can we continue this into Christmas? And then obviously we have to call it a day because there are other things that we're going to be doing with SRU.
No, so One Play Sports was part of that coverage as well with the Do Good Send Love campaign.
Oh, yes.
And yeah, I was just going to build up on that. We saw what was happening there, and you kind of touched on what's happening now, but long term, are you going to try and spread it out to all the different CDCs? What is the long-term plan into next year in 2021?
Okay, so I think that, you know, the pandemic has kind of like quietened down a bit. You know, I think in terms of sending food, I think we're kind of like past that.
Okay.
We have to move forward with other things, you know, because right now we're looking at jobs, right? Helping people with their jobs. Am I right? Giving people back their dignity, really, you know, and that's what Project Pari is all about.
Okay.
You see, so we have to step into the next realm now, you know, almost like Maslow hierarchy of needs, right? Needs are done, food needs are done, we have to move up. Yeah, so that's what we're doing.
So Project Pari, you touched on it. Can you expand a little bit about what Project Pari is?
Okay, so Project Pari, right? I brought it on the table, and you know, Douglas is very, very supportive, right? Because see, Project Pari is done by the Zonta Club, you know, and Zonta Club is actually an international club. Singapore chapter here adopted Project Pari, and what Project Pari does is that on a yearly basis, every year, they will go to 4 to 5 different community schools, and usually those in the very underserved community side, and they will identify 100 teenage girls. And the things that they do with these girls are amazing, you know, like they just had an AI masterclass, you know, like the likes of Google, Microsoft and all, they support them. The idea is to get these girls to think bigger than their current situation, you know, like dream big, you know, don't stay there. And what better to do it with sports,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, I think sports is a very universal language. You know, sports speaks of everything. So right now, what we want to do is that, you know, to show these girls as well that, hey, you can be national players,
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
which is what we're doing.
So
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
where we had a ready group of 100 girls, and we wanted to use rugby or sport as a tool to enhance their social skills as well and increase their network. We had our 3 female RDOs come on the show before, and that was 6 months ago. So these are projects that we look at. We take a step back and look at the bigger picture on how we want to improve the women's game in Singapore, women's empowerment, the development of female athletes as well. So the wider pool, and in preparation for the SEA Games also. So yeah, we have our women's plan going along, and it was just a really, really good fit, and reaching out to females in heartland schools as well.
I mean, it's great stuff that you're doing. And Doug, you were on the ground as well for that filming session when we were there for the Do Good Send Love campaign. What was it like to play a part in you know, enhancing people's lives and giving them food? What was it like for you as an experience?
It was really good. It's a feel good feeling as well.
Yeah.
But like I said, it was a solution, and now we're working on just one step ahead. So we don't have to carry on delivering meals like what Germaine has said.
Yeah.
But creating jobs for these people, and we've actually advertised a few job roles on the SRE website as well. So if you're interested, and not pertaining to just rugby, but in various industries as well, and it's open to the rugby community first and everyone else. So yeah, we've got about, I think, 8 jobs there right now.
Yeah.
And yeah, so
I wonder if I may add a little something about Project Pari that
Sure.
we're doing.
Yeah.
Because really it is one of the first fundraising platform where we are introducing augmented reality,
Okay.
the technology into the fundraising. So if you like, because see, typically fundraising, right, benefits only the beneficiary. In this case, if we are fundraising for Project Pari, you know, all the money that we raise will go to Project Pari. But you do agree with us that this is unusual time. We are living in unusual times. So the patrons that are giving us money and the donors that are giving us money, we felt that we should involve them and that everybody should benefit from this fundraising platform as well. So I give you a very, very quick, you know, understanding of how it is. For example, if 100 plus were to come in and become our patron and give us X amount, right? So what we do is that we will recognize them as a patron, and then the donors that come in and give us that individual donation, what we will do is use augmented reality, go out on a face filter, ask them to take a very good picture of themselves with like, I am a donor, you know, and then hashtag back to our campaign, hashtag back to 100 plus. 100 plus can choose to give them, you know, a little goodie to thank them, to say that, hey guys, you know, please go to so and whichever place and then redeem this little gift from us. So by doing that, can you see that we are actually creating a circular economy that ties everybody together? So yeah, this is something that I put on the table. Douglas says, yeah, it's great, let's go for it. And then, yeah, we're going to be the very first to introduce fundraising.
You spoke about the plans in place moving forward. Where does this passion come from to just help people, to make an impact in people's lives?
Oh, I think since I was very young, you know, it's probably inculcated in me, you know, right from day one when I started school, or even before that. You know, way back then, I remember we lived in a big kampong house, right? So grandfather is kind of like the kampong chief, if you like, you know. So I remember us growing up, right? The door is always open. It's ridiculous. People can just come in and out that house, you know. And can you imagine, grandma actually cooked pots and pots and pots. Like lunchtime, anyone, I swear, anyone who needs a meal can just step in.
Okay.
And that actually goes with me to school, you know. Like sometimes some of my friends are like, oh, you know what, mom's not cooking. I say, oh, just come on in. And everybody will be coming around to eat. That kind of spirit is what I grew up with.
And if there's someone out there in need at this point, and they're not really sure what kind of help they require, how can they get in touch with you, and what kind of help can ELPIS provide them right now?
Oh, just Google us.
Okay.
You know, and you will find us. And we're very open. You know, it's very easy to get in touch with us. Just drop us a line, and then we're more than happy to call you back and basically to see, you know, what is it that you need and how we can help. But word of caution there. Every time we help, you know, we like to, you know, how we like to do things is that we always have a vision to go bigger. So anyone that we help, we always tell them, please pay it forward. You know, don't just get help and forget about, you know, moving it forward to others. That's really what ELPIS is all about. Yeah.
Douglas, we spoke about in the previous episode of you know, CSR projects and giving back to the community. How important is it to have a partner like this?
It's good because, like I said, we're not the experts in CSR. We've done different projects in the past, but having an expert come to the fray and working with our rugby community that actually do want to give it forward, do want to push out what good has come on them. Like I said, sport as a force for good.
Yeah.
The ideation and everything comes from ELPIS with these ideas in place, and it's a good marriage, like what she says.
Yeah.
Chief connector.
Chief connecting officer.
Chief connecting officer.
Look, I'm really looking forward to seeing what comes out with Project Pari. I think you gave a little teaser here, but I think more to come out of it in the future. Germaine, thank you so much for being on the show. Douglas,
always
you're always welcome.
Thank you.
You as well. Anytime you want to be here, and perhaps in the future can talk about where Project Pari is and what has been achieved so far through that. So it's something for the future. But that's all the time we have on Rugby Lives Here. Another special episode, this time looking at the goings-on outside of the rugby pitch. And looking forward to seeing you next week. We do it every Thursday, Rugby Lives Here on One Play Sports. See you.
Bye.